Hello, dear students. This is Rahul Mishra. I'm your chemistry teacher. I hope you all are enjoying the online classes, though we have some limitations regarding teaching and learning through online classes, but we are trying our best. So, as I am not staying in the school campus, so I have some limitation regarding teaching. I'm staying at my home, so whatever resources are available, I'm using all the resources and providing the best to you. So, first of all, I'm going to tell why I have selected this chapter first to start. Because chapter number 4, materials, metals and non-metals, you will see the another version of this chapter in class 10th, but it will be available in detail version. Clear? So that's why we have to start first to focus more on this chapter, because this chapter is very important in higher classes. When you go in higher classes like class 11th and 12th, you will see the detailed version of these elements and these things. So chapter number 4, materials, metals and non-metals. So in chapter we will discuss about metals and non-metals and in some extent about metalloids. So what are materials? Materials are the substances which are having some mass and occupy some space. Generally we see this definition in class 9 in chapter number 1, matter in our surrounding. In chemistry, there are total 118 elements which have been discovered by different scientists. Some of them are known as metals and non-metals. So by the combination of these elements, we form different compounds, and these compounds are very useful in many activities. Clear? So the content to be discussed in this chapter, we have to take a brief. In this chapter, we will discuss about the physical properties of metals and non-metals, chemical properties of metals and non-metals, and uses of metals and non-metals. Why there is a need to discuss about the physical properties of metals and non-metals? Because suppose you are given a mixture. In that mixture, metals and non-metals are available. So what are the methods and what are the guidelines and what are the parameters to identify the metals and non-metals from the mixture? So we have to discuss about their physical properties. So regarding the physical properties, what we can take in case of metals, those materials or substances which are hard and lustrous and having shiny appearance, they are known as metals, like copper, zinc, silver, gold. These are the metals. And those materials and substances which are soft and dull in appearance, like coal and sulfur, they are not having any shiny surface, so they come in the category of non-metals. Second property, malleability. Regarding the metals, the conversion of metallic objects into thin sheets. If we apply the pressure or force on metallic objects, so they can be converted, they can change their shapes, and they can be converted into thin sheets. So they show the property malleability, like copper, zinc, gold. Different ornaments can be prepared by using silver and gold, iron, copper. So these are the metals which show the property malleability. Next, when we talk about the non-metals, non-metals are non-malleable. They break down in powdery mass when we apply the pressure or force on them. Suppose carbon, a piece of carbon, when we apply the force or pressure on the carbon piece, it can be converted into powdery mass and the ash will be formed. So that's why it cannot show the property malleability. Next, ductility. What is the mean of ductility? The conversion of metals into wires. The conversion of metals into cylindrical objects like wires. Generally, we use the wires at our home, which is made from copper, because copper is having higher conductivity, but the maximum conductivity is being shown by the silver, but silver is too expensive, so that's why we cannot use the silver. So in the place of silver, what we can use, copper material in the wires. And when we talk about the non-metals, they cannot be converted into wires. They don't show the property ductility, so that's why they are non-ductile, because they are having the brittle nature. So next property in case of metals, sonorous. Metals produce ringing sounds. When two metallic objects are striking to each other, So they form ringing sounds like we see in our school. So this property belongs to metallic objects. So when we talk about the non-metallic objects, they are not sonorous and they cannot show this property, and they are not producing any sound. Suppose we are dropping a piece of coal from a particular height to the ground, so there is no sound from coal. It means it does not show the property of sonorous. So that's why these properties are related with the metallic objects. So next property, metallic objects are good conductors of heat and electricity, while the non-metallic objects are poor conductors of heat and electricity. So let us understand by taking one example of electric circuit. As in class 6 we have seen about closed circuit and open circuit. In closed circuit, the electricity is flowing. So in the path of the circuit, if we are placing a metallic object which is made up from iron, so which is made up from iron, so iron will not interrupt the flow of electricity. It will allow the flow of electricity. So there is no interruption in the path of the circuit. So electricity will be flowing continuously and the bulb will be glowing. So that's why metallic objects are good conductors of electricity. The another example we can take regarding the iron rod. If we are heating the iron rod from a particular end and now the temperature is reaching to another end, so it means it happens due to the property of conduction of metallic objects. So that's why the metallic objects are good conductors of heat and electricity. When we talk about the non-metallic objects like plastic, if we are placing an object which is made up from plastic in the path of the circuit, so the plastic will not allow the current to flow through them. So that's why they are known as poor or bad conductors of heat and electricity. Clear? So this was about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. But some are exceptions like soft metals. What are soft metals? Metals which can be cut by knife, known as soft metals. Examples: sodium, potassium, and lithium. These are the metals which can be cut by knife, but rest of the properties are related with the metals. So that's why they can be considered into metallic category. Clear? Mercury, only metal which exists in liquid form at room temperature. The mercury is only the metal which can exist in liquid form at room temperature. So this is the exceptions case. This is the exception. And when we talk about the non-metal, non-metal which can exist in liquid form at room temperature, that is known as bromine water. So you get two examples, one from metal and one from non-metal, which is existing in liquid form at room temperature. So this was about the physical properties. So if we are unable to identify the metals and non-metals from a mixture by using physical properties, by physical appearance, so we have to go through chemical properties of metals and non-metals. And regarding the chemical properties, we have to perform some chemical reactions. We have to apply some chemicals on metallic and non-metallic objects, and we have to get some observations regarding this. And new products will be formed. So here we will discuss about 5 reactions in case of metals and non-metals. First, reactions of metals and non-metals with oxygen, reactions of metals and non-metal with water, reactions of metals and non-metals with acids, reactions of metals and non-metal with bases, and displacement reaction in cases of metals. So one by one we take all properties. First property we are going to discuss: what happens when metals react with oxygen. So the basic equation we can write, the fundamental equation we can write: metals react with oxygen and they will form metallic oxides, and these metallic oxides will be basic in nature, and the nature can be identified by using any type of indicator like litmus paper. The two types of litmus paper strips are available in chemistry lab, one in the color of blue and one in another color red. So we are taking one example: rusting of iron. It means when iron react with moist air, and moist air consists oxygen and water, and it will form iron oxide, and that will be showing the basic nature. How can we identify the basic nature of the compound? Because we have to take a test tube. In that test tube, we have to take the rust from iron rod and we have to mix with water. And now the solution is being fed. After that, we have to put one by one each litmus paper in the solution. If blue litmus paper turns into red, it means the solution is having acidic nature. If red litmus paper turns into blue, it means the solution is having basic nature. Here, the iron oxide will show basic nature. Clear? So this was about the indicator. The another metal like magnesium, when magnesium react with oxygen, it will form magnesium oxide, and the nature of the magnesium oxide will be basic. Clear? Next, what happens when sodium react with oxygen? It will form sodium oxide, and the another nature is basic. Clear? Another case which is given in the chapter, what is copper rusting? When copper vessel is exposed to air, it acquires a dull green coating. The green material is mixture of copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. So what happens when copper reacts with water, carbon dioxide and oxygen? It will form a mixture, a compound which consists a mixture of copper hydroxide and copper carbonate, and which is available in green color, and this is change in color. This is known as copper rusting. Clear? Reactions with oxygen in case of non-metals. What happens when non-metallic objects react with oxygen? So non-metals react with oxygen, it will form non-metallic oxides, and the nature of the non-metallic oxides will be reversed with the metallic oxides, and they are showing the acidic nature. And the similar property we can identify by using any type of indicator. Clear? Next example we are taking, when sulfur react with oxygen, it will form sulfur dioxide, and immediately this sulfur dioxide will react with water and sulfurous acid will be formed. And by seeing the term sulfurous acid, the nature of the acid is acidic. Clear? The second property we are taking, what happens when metals react with water. So the sodium metal is very reactive and it reacts vigorously with water and oxygen and produces heat, and the temperature of the container will rise, therefore it is stored in kerosene. So the basic equation we can write, when sodium react with water, it will form sodium hydroxide, some base, and the liberation of hydrogen gas will be there, and temperature rises of the container. Clear? Another metal we are taking, while iron react with water, iron reacts with water very slowly, and this is the process rusting of iron. Already we have seen in first equation. In case of non-metals, generally non-metals do not react with water, like carbon. When we put a piece of carbon in water, there is no reaction, it is less reactive. Though they may be very reactive in air, such non-metals are stored in water. So we should take the example of phosphorus. Phosphorus is very reactive, it catches fire if exposed to air. So generally the phosphorus material, non-metal, is used to make firecrackers. So that's why it is a type of explosive. Question number, the third number, chemical property, reactions with acids in case of metals. What happens when metals with acids? So metals react with acid and produce hydrogen gas with a pop sound. So a corresponding salt will be formed. What is the basic equation we can write? Metals react with acids, dilute acids we are taking because it is not too much harmful in the comparison of concentrated acids, because in this acids the amount of water is in excess. So metallic salts will be formed and liberation of hydrogen gas will be there. So example we are taking, what happens when magnesium react with hydrochloric acid. So magnesium chloride, a salt will be formed and liberation of hydrogen gas will be there. Next example, in case of magnesium, when magnesium react with sulfuric acid, it will form magnesium sulfate and the liberation of hydrogen gas will be there. Next, when aluminium react with sulfuric acid, it will form aluminium sulfate and hydrogen gas will be there. When aluminium react with hydrochloric acid, it will form aluminium chloride, a type of salt, and hydrogen will be there. So we will see the similar process, similar phenomena in all metals when they react with acids. Clear? What happens when iron react with sulfuric acid? It will form iron sulfate and hydrogen gas will be liberated. So this was about the metals, and one more equation is given. What happens when iron react with hydrochloric acid? Iron chloride will be formed and hydrogen gas will be liberated. So this was about the metals when different metals react with different acids and they will form their corresponding salts, and in similar way in all cases the hydrogen gas will be released. Clear? What happens when non-metals react with acids? So generally non-metals are less reactive towards acid, so there is no reaction. An important note An important note is given: copper does not react with dilute HCl even on heating, but it reacts with concentrated sulfuric acid. So why does it happen? Because copper is less reactive than hydrogen. In the reactivity series, we will discuss in fifth number chemical property, displacement reaction. The metals which are situated above the hydrogen, they are known as more reactive metals, and the metals which are situated below the hydrogen, they are known as less reactive metals. So in that series, the hydrogen is situated above the copper, so copper is not having the capacity to replace the hydrogen from its salt solution. So that's why we have to take concentrated sulfuric acid, which is a strong oxidizing agent, and the property of oxidizing agent to oxidize other and get reduce itself. Clear? So in this reaction the copper sulfate will be formed and sulfur dioxide gas will be released and water will be formed. Clear? Next property: what happens when metals react with bases? Metals react with sodium hydroxide to produce hydrogen gas. Metals, the basic fundamental equation we can write: metals plus bases, and salts will be formed and hydrogen gas will be liberated. So we are taking the example of zinc metal. Zinc will react sodium hydroxide, it will form sodium zincate and hydrogen gas will be released. Clear? Next, while reactions of non-metals with bases are complex, here we are taking the example: when carbon dioxide reacts with sodium hydroxide, it will form sodium hydroxide and water will be released. Clear? So this was about the four chemical properties: reaction with oxygen, reaction with water, reaction with acids, reaction with bases, in all cases including metals and non-metals. Clear? If you have any problem in any question in any equation, please put your queries on my personal WhatsApp. Next, displacement reaction. This chemical property is very important regarding the metals, and whenever you get the question regarding the displacement reactions in exam, activity based question, you have to prepare this phenomena very well. So we are going to discuss displacement reactions. So let's see. A rule is given: a more reactive metal can replace the less reactive metal from its salt solution, but a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal from its salt solution. So a reactivity series is given. An example, we are going to discuss what happens when zinc granules are being put in copper sulfate solution. So zinc will replace copper from copper sulfate solution and zinc sulfate will be formed, that is colorless compound, and copper metal will be separated out. Clear? So to solve such type of problems, we have to discuss about the reactivity series of metals. What is reactivity series of metals? The arranging of metals in the decreasing order of their reactivity is called reactivity series of metals. In this series, the different metals are being placed from top to bottom. When we go from top to bottom, the reactivity decreases. So the metals which are situated above the hydrogen, the metals which are situated above the hydrogen, they are known as more reactive metals, and the metals which are situated below the hydrogen, they are known as less reactive metals. And these metals are more reactive metals are potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead. So these are metals which are most reactive, and the reactivity decreases from top to bottom. So the metals, now which are situated below the hydrogen, they are known as less reactive metals. copper, mercury, silver, and gold. So those metals which are situated above the hydrogen, they are having the capacity to replace the metals from their salt solution which are less reactive. So example we are taking, copper cannot replace the zinc from zinc sulfate solution because copper is less reactive than zinc, but zinc can replace copper from copper sulfate solution. So the reaction will occur there. Clear? And some more examples we will discuss in exercise and notes. So this was about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. We have discussed very well. If anything, if any problem you are facing regarding any chemical equation, you can put your queries on my personal WhatsApp. Clear? After this, we are going to focus on uses of metals and non-metals. What are the uses of metals and non-metals? Uses of metals. Metals are used in making machinery, automobiles, automobile industry, aeroplanes, train satellites, industrial gadgets, water boilers, etc. So the uses of metals are very common. Everybody knows about it. So there is no problem to understand this topic. But we have to focus the uses of non-metals, which is very important in our exam. So what are the non-metals which are used? Oxygen is used in breathing. Everybody knows oxygen is called living gas. The non-metal which is involved, oxygen. Phosphorus and nitrogen are used as fertilizers to make the artificial fertilizers like potash and phosphate. These are the artificial fertilizers. Urea. The involvement of the non-metals are nitrogen and phosphorus. Chlorine and ozone are used in water purification process. To disinfect the water, the chlorine tablets and ozone gas are being used. So that's why these are known as non-metals. Purple color solution tincture iodine is used as an antiseptic. Iodine is available in form, so that's why it is used an antiseptic to make the tincture iodine solution. So this is about the involvement of non-metals in different products. Next, phosphorus and sulfur are used in crackers. Generally we burn the crackers on Diwali. So the phosphorus and sulfur are known as non-metals, and these are used in widely manner in to make the in making crackers. Clear? So this was about the uses of metals and non-metals. So we have discussed very well. Now some important terms are given in the chapter which are also to be discussed. Element. What is element? Element, the 118 elements we have discussed. Element, a substance cannot be broken down further by chemical reaction called as element. So this is the last portion of the chemical reaction of the substance. A substance cannot be broken down further by chemical reaction. This is the last stage, and this is the fundamental portion of the substance that is known as element. And that examples are carbon, sulfur, iron, copper, zinc, phosphorus, sodium. So they are in the number 118. Clear? Next, what is atom? the smallest unit of the smallest unit of an element is called atom. The smallest unit of an element is called atom, where all the subatomic particles like protons, electrons, and neutrons can stay together. Clear? So this was about atom. Now last, metalloids. What are metalloids? Some elements which show characteristics of both metals and non-metals called as metalloids. It means they are showing the properties of both metals and non-metals, but they are in less number. Examples: boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, and astatine. So this was about the metalloids. So here we complete the chapter. I hope you all have understood all the topics very well. If any problem you are facing in any topic, please let me know. Please put your queries in the on my personal WhatsApp. So this was about the complete explanation of the chapter. Earlier I have sent the explanation regarding the YouTube. This will also help you. So please keep on studying. God bless you.